Hi, Amaze Fest. We are a Safe Play Studio team behind Venice 2089. We are here to talk with you about Venice 2089, of course, and to have a dive into the back scenes of the creation of the game, watching some Venice footage and some behind the scenes mood boards using Miro. So here with me there's Marina.
Hi.
That's game designer, and I'm Francesco Berton, game director of Venice 2089.
Yes. Hi. Today we will have some footage taken from Venice, as Francesco said. We went and shot some videos to show you the places that are behind the game, that were an inspiration for us in creating the game. And we will talk about how the map for the game was born, how the places that Nova visits in their week in Venice were thought of, were born. And we will have a look into our mood boards and brainstorming material from the very start of the project. A big part of designing the game map was deciding how which parts of the city Nova would visit, and each area has a different importance in the game. As you can see in Francisco's screen, that is the huge mood board that was made for every aspect of the game, kind of. It's a very big Miro board, by the way, not sponsored by, but you should use Miro because it's our favorite tool for brainstorming together. And yeah, this is where everything starts. Every idea is placed, and yeah, we elaborate on that. And then Pinterest is also our best friend.
Yeah, and of course this is not a finished project. We are still developing Venice 2089, and this board has not ended yet.
Yes, it's a continuous work in progress. We
Yeah,
create it step by step as we develop new parts of the game.
We could just dive into this board. What do you think?
Yay! Let's go. No,
So
before we go with the board, we have to show the game trailer with a small explanation from some members of the team. So see you in a couple minutes.
Hi, we are Safe Play Studio, an independent team from Italy. We are working on Venice 2009, a narrative explorative game featuring Nova, a teenager in their hometown during the summer holidays.
Despite the consequences of climate change, which can be seen all around, Nova is pretty chill and curious about the places and people. They can explore Venice with their particular means of transport, a hoverboard that lets them travel faster and perform some fun tricks along the way.
Nova will also encounter the citizens of Venice, will make memories with them, and learn their points of view about what's happening to the city, in order to form their own perspective. But is it still possible to save Venice?
Nova has a little friend that can help with some tasks. Their toy drone can interact with the environment, solving minigames, reaching items that are too high for Nova, or messing with security devices.
The game world is a fun mix of 3D and 2D. The buildings are 3D models, but the characters and interactables are puppets and sprites. We wanted to achieve a cartoony visual style while adapting the complex city of Venice to a simplified navigation.
We are now working on expanding the game world, with new playable areas, new days, and new fully animated characters to meet. In the final game, Nova will stay in Venice for a week, and you will be able to experience more of their story.
Venice 2089 is our debut title, and we're really proud about how far we've come so far. We're planning to release the game on PC during the spring of next year, but we're also considering a Switch port. We hope you're excited to see what's in store, and if you are, follow us to see all the news about the game. Cheers!
So let's talk about Nova, the main character of the game. So when we were thinking about Venice 2009, at first we were thinking about a game about climate change. So we were just figuring out what the world could be in 2099, and then we started deciding which was the global storyline, the Venice city storyline, just to see what would be to live in 2099. Then we, of course, changed a little bit our point of view, talking about our main character, Nova, because Nova is a teenager, an apathetic teen, and a curious explorer. So their personality is very, very uncommon for this kind of game, where you have some decisive heroes that want to save the world from climate change and stuff like that. But we didn't feel like we are heroes. We are just people trying to make our best to do what's right. So Nova is is this kind of character that wants to just take a chill holiday to stop the routine of exams and studies that Nova is not convinced to follow. So Nova is very, very colorful in their style, in their dresses. Nova is also curious and want to pick up every stuff that they find during the game and in their exploration. Nova likes to do a lot of jokes about stuff and judging people. So
Yeah, not
it's
taking
not
anything too seriously.
yeah. Nova is not a pleasant person, you know. Is someone that wants to also get in front of you and start questioning things, because Nova is insecure. Is insecure about the future of Nova, themselves, and also about Venice.
Yeah, also Venice is just their birth town. They were born in Venice, but they didn't grow up in Venice, so it's kind of going back to the places of their origins, but it's their grandpa who lives in Venice, who is a Venice citizen, and Nova, during their week-long holiday in Venice, will stay at their grandpa, who is another main character of the game. He's a grumpy old man, but also he was he became more he became quieter and more chill with the years. He used to be an activist for Venice, but yeah, with his old age, he's more like a pacifist and trying to solve Venice's problems with dialogue and with peaceful protests and with his art. He's yeah, he works with glass. He's an artisan. As you may know, Venice is very famous for its traditional glasswork. So that's the job we chose for Nova's grandpa, one of the last masters of this craft. And yeah, he's a very strong person. Strong but calm is like a strong character that keeps kind of keeps Nova on the ground.
Yeah, he's an example for Nova in many kind of way. So Nova cares a lot about their grandpa and listen to grandpa anytime they talk to each other. And but on the other kind, Nova is also insecure in a way that they kind of listen to too many people and get distracted a lot, but many point of views that are different from each other, while not choosing a side to be part of. So one of the other characters that we wanted to put was like something that would balance grandpa presence in Nova's life, and this is Leo. Leo is a friend of Nova, an old friend of Nova, and it's kind of the opposite of the grandpa in some ways. But during the story of Venice, you could be surprised about that. So Leo is kind of a vandal. He wants to do graffiti wherever he wants, and creating a violent acts that want to change the world of Venice that is menaced by corporations and climate change. So he's not a bad person because his values are very, very, very strong and very, very persuadable. So he wants to change the world in his own style that is very, very different from Grandpa's one.
Yes, he's the rebel friend that yeah, the classic bad influence, but also that has his reason. If you see him and talk to him and see what he does, which is what Nova will do, Nova will be able to understand why he behaves like that, and yeah, that even if the methods he uses are controversial, the intentions are pure and good.
Yeah, Leo wants to do his own stuff by himself, while on the contrary, Grandpa is more a diplomatic kind of person that wants to speak to people and creating like showcases, like manifestations and stuff like that. So Nova will be bounced between those two characters during the story of Venice 2089, and we'll see how Nova will figure out what to do in their life.
Today we'll be visiting some of the places that were an inspiration for Venice 2089 and yeah, the areas that Nova visits in the game. We're now in Santa Marta, where Nova lives. I mean, where Nova's grandpa lives, and where they're staying. Isn't that look like grandpa's house?
Let's go to the place where Nova is staying, where Grandpa lives, the famous yellow house of Venice 2089. It's Grandpa's house. That was inspired by some real buildings that there are in Santa Marta, which is a residential area with these huge house blocks that are very colorful and characteristic. Santa Marta for Nova is the place that most feels like home, that feels like a familiar place, that feels cozy, and yeah, where they start their days, their journey, where they go back at the end of each day. As we mentioned, Grandpa is a master crafter in the art of glass. In a floor of his house, there will be a lab. We thought of Grandpa like a future day hipster. It's like yeah. It's a near future, so the people you encounter in Venice 2089 could well be people that are being born or that are young nowadays.
Yeah, Grandpa is a kind of millennial, as we would say. So Grandpa is like us, but in the future, me and Marina.
We didn't mention this before, but both me and Francesco studied in Venice. We actually have a background in visual arts. We lived this place as students, as young artists, and we wanted to portray a Venice that is not the usual touristic Venice, the one that you see in postcards, but we wanted to showcase and let the player experience an everyday Venice, a Venice seen by people who live there, who work there, and yeah, as a home, not just a tourism destination, not your postcard city. Even if Nova is very chill about it and is basically just a visitor, there's this underlying theme of rising waters and yeah, a place that has substantially changed slowly over the years to become harder and harder to live in.
In a way, we wanted to show a different kind of also portion of Italy that is not displayed by any other game or any other media, portraying some characters that we commonly see in Venice, like giving life to everyday I don't know, jobs and and lives that live Venice and the various citizens. For example, I don't know, the board lady. It's a very accurate example of that. Yeah, when you walk in the streets of Venice, you would encounter many old women and men that walks the streets, and Venice is a city that is very much getting older and older in the citizens, because living there is very high cost, and at the same time is very risky, in a way that high tide are really becoming a really strong problem. And on the other hand, tourism also is kind of taking Venice in like a Disneyland direction, in a way.
And in Venice 2089 we see an abandoned Venice, which has just a few people left, because as it's getting harder and harder to live there, people are leaving and just a few are staying, and the people that are staying have to deal with the climate and and the problems that come from the climate change. So they have to build structures to go around the city. We have in the game some platforms that allow you to move around, even if there are like even if the high tide is like 2 floors high.
This part is getting messier and messier in both ways, both the organization and the
content itself.
The content of the photos. Talking about a bit about Venice and creating a Venice like this, as Marina said, we have these platforms that can be run over by Nova with their hoverboard to explore the city and its different angles and characteristics. So Venice is a explorative game where you can find a lot of Venetian elements and props and a little bit of future and futuristic, but not so much. We thought about creating a Venice that is relatable to the present, to 2021. So we didn't want to add a lot of stuff like art technology and stuff like that, because we are very realistic as creating a sci-fi kind of game. So
yes,
it's
but
more
also
like
it's a future that is not too far away. Thinking about the history of Venice, it's always kept its characteristics.
In Venice, you will ride a hoverboard. We thought about this kind of mechanic in the gameplay, because we wanted Nova to have a fast ride throughout Venice and having their own experience of Venice that would be a holiday for Nova that is a chill adventure, is a chill journey throughout the city that is kind of escaping from the reality that Venice is experiencing in the game. So we wanted the technology to have like a correlation to something that we know in our present time, like skateboard or rollerblades, and we found that the hoverboard was a nice common place between technology and the reality and the actual technology development of the world.
One of the first things that we created when brainstorming for the look of the game was an art bible, a series of mood boards that we use for inspiration and to define the visual style together with our artists to decide together the guidelines for the art style of the game. So this is the art bible, and the first images, the first inspirations that we used to start to create this world. So a very important quality that our buildings had to have was modularity. We had to have modular elements for obvious reasons, because we're a small team and we were building a huge city. So we started to analyze the types of buildings for each area of the city, the types of windows they have, the types of doors they have, the general structures, and we started to think general styles of buildings that would work for each area, and their color palettes also. These are some types of windows from Venice. As you can see, the shapes are so many, and yeah, we had to find the main styles we wanted to have in our buildings. Then about shapes, we wanted clean shapes, but not too clean, ruined by the weather, and yeah, we wanted the city to look, not too stiff, not too stable. Asymmetrical lines would work better with our cartoony style, which is a bit of caricature of some elements, and add a little fun to the overall style. Here you can see some textures we really liked, because Venice's buildings are the opposite of flat colored. They are very very textured, both in the materials and in the colors. They get ruined by the water. There is humidity, and yeah, the signs of time. So they don't look really new, but more yeah, worn out by time and weather.
Yeah, Venice has so many textures, as Marina said, that it's like a skin that has behind it a lot of cultural eras, and Venice is kind of like a city out of the world that is maintaining its own style, its own appearance, and we wanted to find a way to make it look like something fresh and cartoony and new, and that was not very easy with so many details that would have brought along a lot of time to be built. But we found some references in the as we will see right now that are very
Yes.
important for us.
This Disney cartoon that is Mickey Mouse in Venice was definitely one of the most precious references, because we really liked this this wet style, this very textured style, but in a very painterly way. It's you can feel the texture. We were always showing these references to our texture artists, especially for the bricks. For the bricks, it was a huge inspiration. These two are fun ways to add some dirt and damage to a texture. Then the colors were one of the most important points for us too, because Venice is very colorful, very strongly saturated, and yeah, it has some very warm tones that become darker on the lower floors because of the proximity with water. Some of the colors we chose were these strong yellows and oranges, because they are very in contrast with the water. Nova too is dressed in yellow, because we wanted them to stick out from these from the very blue or greener waters of Venice. And we finally figured out how to give a shadow to Nova. We struggled with this in the past, because the environment is basically all 3D, but Nova is a sprite, so having these two worlds communicate with each other is sometimes a struggle, but we think we found a solution. It's not in the demo yet, but we're working on that, and we hope we can show you soon. And then very important, damage had to be very visible, because the lower parts of buildings, you cannot live there, so we wanted to close these parts with wood, or make it clear that they weren't accessible. These are some examples of very strong damage that we found, and we loved the shapes of them all. And another important thing is vertical growth, because of course the people that want to keep living there and have had to adapt, so they started living in the higher parts, in the higher floors of buildings, and up to small structures like altane, or Nova's boathouse itself. Nova stays in a boathouse upon the house of Grandpa. We ended up choosing not to have a map in the game, I mean, a visual map for the player to see, because we wanted the player to get lost in Venice as you do when you visit the city. And yes, it's part of the experience, you know, getting lost and wondering where you are. All the streets look the same. So yeah, no map for you. We're sorry, but you will have to discover our Venice on your own. Also, the Venice we have in the game is very simplified. It's not the actual Venice with all the roads. We had to adapt the city to our navigation system that is mainly made by 90-degree crossroads. And yeah, this is it mostly, I think. Some water shader references for our technical artists. And yeah, that's it for the art Bible. We also have the color palette document if you want. So we have so for Nova's journey in Venice, we wrote this document describing all the main areas of the game. There is Zattere, that is the most touristic part maybe we have in the game. It's basically a long road facing the sea, and the one where you usually go and take a walk at sunset with your ice cream. So it's an area strongly lit by the sun, and there are lots of gelato shops and bars, and it's a very nice view. This is kind of a almost postcard view, I think, and we gave to this area a very bright palette, very bright colors, to give this lively, this happy mood. Also, it's the area where you encounter Max and you can get your ice cream. So, in a way, the Max ice cream shop kind of reflects these bright colors, the spirit of this area. And then, yes, these are some of the images we used for defining the colors for each area, and they're taken from Google Maps, because as we started working on this project, we started working on Venice 2089 at school, but then you know that there was the pandemic, and so we couldn't really travel to Venice as much as we wanted to, even if we're just like an hour away from the city, but we weren't able to go there as much as we wanted to. So we worked from home for the most part of it, and yeah, the internet has been really helpful for us to find to virtually travel the city and find the spots that we remembered and we wanted to take pictures of. No, luckily we had some pictures we had taken back in February, I think, and then when the pandemic started in March, they were kind of our treasure, because we couldn't go back and take more of them. But yeah, Google Street View has been really helpful for this document, because we were able to scout the locations while staying at home. This is San Trovaso Square, which is one of the most, I think, accurate places we have in the game, because it's one of the most faithfully recreated, I would say. It's yeah, it's this big, this huge church with also a huge square, and yeah, it's a nice area of Venice, because next to it there's this huge place that repairs gondole and traditional boats. And then yes, this was one of the first studies for Leo's Alley. It was a bit darker that it then turned out to be, but we wanted this this alley in the shadows where he goes and practices his graffiti art without being seen by authorities, so kind of his safe place. And then there's the warehouse area, where yeah, next to the market we have in the game. We wanted it to have these warm, strong colors. It's a part of our Venice facing the sea, so yeah, there's a lot of contrast with the sky and the water. And then there's Santa Marta, which we saw before, and yeah, the place that for Nova feels most like home, a familiar place, the place that they know the most, where they start their days in, and from where they then proceed and get lost. In other places. And this is the inner part of Dorsoduro, which is yeah, kind of a broad definition, but yeah, all of these continental areas of our map that we want to feel more in the shadow, more damaged, and that in the game are connected with more abandonment, and yeah, it's where Leo lives, and an area that is more poor compared to other areas that we will be adding to the game, like the glorious Punta della Dogana, which is yeah, this great view with imposing buildings, and yeah, one of the most panoramic views of Venice, and that will be in the game. thank you for being with us for this talk, and we hope to see you soon. We have a demo on Steam that you can play, and if you like it, please wishlist the game. Your support is much helpful. And we have also a Kickstarter campaign that will start soon. You can already find the link to pre-save it, so you don't miss any updates. And you can find our social media handles, where you can follow us for all of the updates. And yeah, thank you from Safe Place, from Marina, from Francesco, and
From Italy.
from Italy, from Venice. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed the talk, and yeah, bye bye.
Bye bye.